रहा था, लेकिन कोई एक क्या नाम है उसका, उसने जो है पूरा एक ट्विटर पे हैंडल पे डाला उसने। उसके बाद उनके ऊपर जो है तमाम मैसेजेज और फ़ोन कॉल्स आ रहे हैं, डेथ डेथ के लिए कि आपको मार दिया जाएगा, आपका बलात्कार होगा, ऐसे नुपुर शर्मा जी को आ रहे हैं। जैसे कि एक चीज़ मैं बता दूं कि वो हुआ क्यों था कि वो डिबेट ज्ञानवापी मंदिर पे चल रही थी, तो उन्होंने कहा भाई जो शिवलिंग मिला है आप लोग उसको फव्वारा करें, तो हमारा हमारा भी जो है सेंटिमेंट हर्ट हो रहा है, तो प्लीज़ आप उसको फव्वारा भी मत कहो। और तो आपके स्क्रिप्चर में तो ऐसी ऐसी सारी चीज़ें लिखी हुई हैं, तो इस हिसाब से उनके जो वीडियो को है, पूरा वीडियो नहीं, 30 सेकंड का वीडियो कट करके उसने जो है वो ट्विटर पर डाला है। उससे लेकर के उनको काफ़ी जो है डेथ थ्रेट क्या क्या सब चीज़ें आ रही हैं, ऐसे ही चल रहा है।
भाई
क्या
एक
क्या
मिनट
वर्ड था वो अजय जी?
Yeah,
यू यूज्ड द वर्ड, मेरे को उसका मतलब पता नहीं है।
एक मिनट
I want to
एक
say
मिनट
that. I will
विशाखा
explain it.
एक मिनट
So,
विशाखा आई आई वांट टू से समथिंग यार, हम पेरियार पे रूम नहीं चला सकते
हाँ
क्या?
वो चलाएगी इसके बाद, अभी ये इस टॉपिक पे
हाँ
बात
आंदोलन
कर
पे
रहे
will
हैं,
do it
पेरियार पे
sometime.
प्लीज।
कल परसों चलाएगी।
Okay. No, plural, I'll give you a background. So the MVA thing, I think Andolan ji will give. I mean, it's not surprising that BJP's Nupur Sharma has got this death threat. And I fear because anyone who has offended or insulted Allah and His Messenger will end up similarly like Kamlesh Tiwari or Kishan Bharwad or anyone else, because we have always known this and this is established until now that Gustake Rasool ki ek hi saza sartan se juda. And what it happened, I'll give you the background. It was a TV debate of Times Now, and Taslim Rahmani basically said, you all are worshipping, you all are claiming to worship a fountain, to the Shivling. And when he was being rude to Nupur Sharma
वर्शिप
basically
ऑफ व्हाट, सॉरी?
you're worshipping a fountain, the shivling that was found
अ
in
फाउंटेन?
yeah,
That's
fountain.
what Islamic guys are teasing Hindu
ओहो,
sentiment every day
ओके,
from the last
ओके,
many days. Yeah.
ओके।
So that's what they were talking, and Nupur Sharma got outraged, and she said, "Listen, if that's the case, your prophet married a 6-year-old and consummated the marriage when he was 9,
Which is
when she
accurate.
was 9, which is." Just 1 second, plural. Let me complete. So this is the 3 claims Nupur Sharma made. First, that prophet went on a mule, winged mule to visit the 7 skies. It is already in the Quran. Secondly, she made a thing that earth is flat. It is already in the Quran, and it's also commented by Islamic scholars, ancient classic Islamic scholars like Ibn Khatir and Al-Tabari, that earth is flat according to Islam. Third, she said that the prophet married his second wife, that is Aisha, when she was 6 years of age, and consummated the marriage when she was 9 years of age. Now, I do not understand how is this blasphemy. Now, this is what the Islamic scriptures say, and I will quote it. This is what the Islamic scriptures say. It's a hadith, Sunan An-Nisai 3378. The Messenger of Allah married me when I was 6 and consummated the marriage with me when I was 9, and I used to play with dolls. Second source, Sahih al-Bukhari 5134. This is what Aisha is saying, the wife of the Prophet. The wife of the Prophet is saying that the Prophet married her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. So, and I was informed that Aisha remained with the Prophet until his death.
Yeah.
So,
But Vishaka ji,
how
the
is this
point is,
blasphemy?
yes, precisely the point. And even if it is whether blasphemy, not blasphemy, ये जो एक ट्रेंड चालू हो गया है empowered women की vocal women's की voice को दबाने का, इस्लाम के कल्चर में तो हमेशा से रहा है। और ये कल हम लोगों ने देखा था इन केस ऑफ नूपुर शर्मा, शी इज गेटिंग डेथ थ्रेट्स, रेप थ्रेट्स, beheading threats, harm to family, so that she should not speak. Her religion was being mocked on television screen. Our religion, right? Nupur Sharma also represents my religion, right? Was being mocked from the last 10 days across the board on Twitter, on television channels, on debates. And she just highlights that, if you don't stop doing that, we will also bring out the facts of your religion. For that, her voice is being tried to be muzzled now. साथ ही साथ अगर आप देखें कि ये सेम इकोसिस्टम महाराष्ट्र में कई दिनों से चल रहा है टू मजल द वॉइस ऑफ एम्पावर्ड वुमेन स्पेसिफिकली. Kangna Ranaut, to start with, her house was and office was bulldozed. Then we talk about Navneet Rana. She was not allowed to practice her faith and read Hanuman Chalisa. Yeah, Sadhu ji, आप बार-बार डिस्टर्ब करोगे तो फिर परेशानी होगी. थर्ड इज क्या कहते हैं आपका जो अभी रिसेंट केस हुआ है चितले का. आई एम जस्ट पुटिंग दैट पिन्ड लिंक अबव. शी रोट अ पोस्ट अबाउट शरद पवार क्रिटिसाइज दिस वाज मोर ऑफ अ क्रिटिसिज्म रादर देन अब्यूजिंग, एंड शी हैज बीन ऑन रिमांड फ्रॉम द लास्ट 14 days and her remand has been extended now. तो ये has MVA adopted
Ando, can I just respond to this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So there are a couple of things, right? So first, we have to ask ourselves, so what if we blaspheme? We have to ask ourselves this question.
Just one point. I'm sorry. Andolanji started speaking, so I did not say this. It's high time that everyone across political spectrum stands with Nupur Sharma from the BJP, because if this time you don't, okay, here's the point. You keep on mocking Hindus and their gods day in, day out. And here this lady is not even mocking nor abusing nor anything. She is saying, this is what your books say, and should we start mocking this because you are mocking my gods? The moment she said that, there is an uproar on Twitter, and गुस्ताखे रसूल की एक ही सजा सरतन से जुदा. अरे भैया, तो जाकिर नायक का करो सबसे पहले. He said this. You have a video of Zakir Naik where he's saying that Prophet married Aisha when she was 6 and had sex with her when she was 9. This is said by Zakir Naik.
So Vishaka,
Yeah, so I think that first of all, we have to fundamentally ask ourselves the question, so what if we blaspheme? So what if we call out, even if we are wrong? So what if we call out? So what if we accuse Prophet Muhammad? So what? Why are you special in a way that the rest of us aren't? And here is the problem. Any religion, in a democracy, you're free to practice your religion, which also means you can propagate your religion. Now, in that, it means that if Muslims are converting Hinduism, then they're critiquing Hinduism. Now, if you are allowed to critique my religion, why am I not allowed to critique yours? Because I don't care how historically accurate or inaccurate your claims are. Have you seen Muhammad? Have you seen Allah? Have you seen the donkeys flying and breaking the moon? Personally, you haven't.
Yes,
So we're all in
yes.
1 second, please.
1 second, please, 1 second, 1 second.
No, let me finish,
Allah is
please.
right.
Then you can
Allah is
speak.
right. Allah is
सदना
right.
जी इसके बाद बोल लीजिएगा, प्लूरल इसके बाद बोल लीजिएगा. हाँ?
So the thing is that at some level, all religions do have a kind of a leap in faith. So does Islam. There's nothing special about this religion. We should be free to go ahead and critique it in any way we want to. Imagine this. In this country, we've been painting our gods for the last 20,000 years. This is how we respect our gods. Painting our gods is nothing alien to the civilization. This is how we introspect on divinity. Painting Allah should not be banned. I wouldn't do it personally, but it should not be banned because it is not meant out of disrespect. Painting Prophet Muhammad is not meant out of disrespect. We do this for all our gods. Yours is not special. You're a part of many of humanity's failed attempts to process divinity. There's nothing special about your religion. So what if this lady has blasphemed? If she hasn't, that's great. So what? So this whole thing of Muslims smacking of privilege, saying we are so special ki aap, in spite of you doing this for 20,000 years, you cannot draw my God's picture. You cannot critique us. You cannot say jo bhi altu phaltu against us. But we will do all of that back to you because it's a free democracy, and we will convert people even if it means if we critique you unfairly. So people talk about minority rights. It's time that we talk about minority responsibility.
Yeah, and plural. Just
To live as a minority, I'm just going to wrap up in 5 seconds, Ando, with your permission. To live as a minority is an art. You cannot mooch privilege and rights and be unwilling to grant that back to others. So if you critique us, we will critique you. If you can't take it, then well, you can do whatever you want, but you can't stop us.
That is true. And somewhere we need to normalize it. The bigger problem जो happen हो रही है कि आपकी blasphemy के दायरे में अब शरद पवार भी आ गए. You can't even now criticize Sharad Pawar or policies of NCP. Otherwise, you'll be thrown in jail. This is what happened to this lady. I put up a post up, and I was surprised why is nobody talking about this. A vocal, educated woman making a very reasonable criticism of the policies of MVA government, and like Islamist NCPs hound upon her, and the police takes her and books her.
नहीं बट
This
आनो
is
भाई ये कहाँ गया इन लोगों का फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच कहाँ गया ये प्रेस वालों का why is no one talking
no
about
one is talking about
this
it.
is
That's the problem.
no one is talking
आंदोलन
about
भाई
और वो बंदी और ये जो फेमिनिस्ट का जो बहुत बड़ा एक पैलेस बनाया हुआ है लोगों ने ये फेमिनिस्ट जनता किधर है एक औरत परेशान हो रही है out of no fault of her literally no fault of her she
And
exercised
this
her
is not
freedom
the
of
first
speech
one. And this is not the first case in Maharashtra. हम लोग देख चुके कंगना रनौत के साथ क्या हुआ. Single woman, right? She's making her own living. Her house
अरे
and office was
हनुमान
destroyed.
चालीसा
Navneet
आंदो भाई
Rana.
हनुमान चालीसा
हाँ,
वो हनुमान
which is what I'm
चालीसा
saying. Navneet
yes
Rana, right?
yes
Put behind bars for exercising her right of religion.
मतलब महाराष्ट्र में हम अब हनुमान चालीसा पढ़ना है तो you are at a risk of being put behind the bars is that the message that we are sending
No, even if you criticize Sharad Pawar, you will be behind the bars. And the judge will grant you a 14-day remand. For what? The girls' comment are out there on open in Facebook. What do you need a remand for?
Acha, Andolan ji, I have one thing, just a small announcement. Has someone blocked Shaji in the room? Because मेरे को back channel आ रहा है. Andolan
मैंने
जी,
तो नहीं ब्लॉक करा.
क्यों
हाँ,
करना है?
हाँ. भाई किसी ने ब्लॉक करा है तो 2
If
मिनट के लिए
anyone has
नीचे चले
मैंने
जा.
blocked
हाँ,
you,
हाँ.
मैंने
हाँ,
I
शंभू जी
got
तो 2 मिनट के लिए नीचे चले जाओ.
यार
उसको आ जाने.
पर आंदो भाई why do we have to engage with these people आंदो भाई
ठीक है यार.
no
मैं
you can move me down
नहीं नहीं.
you
I
can
will
move me
not
down
move
that's
me
okay
down. I
but
will not
आंदो
move
भाई
you down.
why but
शंभू जी.
आंदो भाई why do we have to engage with these people
No, no.
I'm okay
Just okay.
but
That's
why
okay. Okay, that's okay. What we can do
Shambhuji,
is
I
yes.
also unblocked you, okay? So
हाँ.
if somebody wants to come in the room, please unblock.
आप या तो नीचे 2 मिनट के लिए चले जाइए. अगर आप अनब्लॉक नहीं करना चाहते फिर ऊपर आ जाइएगा. Let him come into the room and then come up again.
यार
We just don't
मैं
want.
अनब्लॉक तो नहीं करूंगा but I will leave the room you
हाँ.
guys carry on
नहीं, don't leave the room. Let's not be so
अरे पर
angry
आंदो
about
भाई
it.
नहीं यार
हाँ.
नहीं अब मुझे यार आंदो भाई टू बी ऑनेस्ट इंक्रीजिंगली आई डोंट अब जब हम हमारी बात करेंगे तो हमारे लोग ही रहेंगे दैट्स इट
चलिए, I'll
it is
respect your
that simple
sentiment.
for me
I'll respect your sentiment. ठीक है. तो let's move forward, right? I mean, यहाँ पे और कुछ इसके बारे में नीरज जी आपको जानकारी है इसके बारे में. विश्वामित्र जी, वीर जी, anybody would like to share some thoughts on this one? Because this is a trend, specifically in Maharashtra, which I've been noticing that they are specifically targeting women. Is this because? So let me put a incentive why they are doing it. Is it because that overwhelmingly in all the elections that we have seen, the women have voted for BJP irrespective without getting into the trap of caste, religion, or region and all of those factors? Is that the reason?
I think, Anandji, you're right. I mean, thank you for bringing this case out. I was not aware of it, but thank you for having this room. Having said that, what we have seen this government, this Maharashtra government is doing, first of all, they are not enjoying the mandate of the people. The people of Maharashtra have not voted for this alliance to come into power. They have voted for BJP plus Shiv Sena to come to power. but they went against the mandate of the people, and this is a completely undemocratic and unconstitutional what they have done. And repeatedly they are attacking people who is speaking against this government, no matter what. They are running a this racket of money collection. They are attacking the ex-servicemen. They have attacked the sadhus, and now it's women. So there's no doubt this government does not enjoy people's mandate. I'm just desperately waiting for next elections to come. I mean, they will be uprooted. They'll be completely thrown out of this. I'm 100% sure about it. And as far as women is concerned, I believe, yes, you are right. Women have predominantly voted for Bharatiya Janata Party because of its open and progressive policies. So you are right. I mean, there may be a reason, but there are vocal women also, like empowered women, as I think you have mentioned in your title also. That's another reason which irritates these psychopaths, right? So I think that's another reason. But I hope we can come out of this crisis.
अच्छा, one incident I forgot mentioning, Neeraj ji.
आंदोलन जी
Just
एक
3
reset दे
days
क्या?
back.
There are a lot
हाँ
of people
हाँ, एक
asking for
reset बस.
reset.
हाँ, I'll just do that. But just I'll also pin that link. 3 days back, a young girl was shot dead in broad daylight by terrorists in Kashmir. And this girl's only fault was that she didn't even criticize any politic party or any religion or anything. She just used to put videos of mimicking on songs, and people who didn't like that this from a Kashmiri woman. I'll just
What
put a
video was
picture.
it? Sorry.
So,
TikTok, some
3 days
TikTok.
back, yeah, one TikToker from Kashmir, a Muslim girl, young girl. I mean, I think she was hardly, she was hardly 19, 20, right? I think she wasn't much
She was
aged, right?
19.
Very young girl, yeah, 19-year-old. She was not even into politics. She never passed any political remarks or religious remarks, nothing. Islamist found that she was singing and mimicking to songs, and they found her to be a threat which needed to be eliminated. I'm just pinning the tweet up. विशाखा जी या क्या कहते हैं, आप अगर एक बार रीसेट करना चाहती हैं रूम को तो आप
Yeah,
कर
I
दें.
want to
Yeah.
reset. Yeah, I want to reset. So this room is based on two incidents. Of course, one Kashmiri, one that Andolanji is talking about. And in fact, I think 2 days back, even a TikToker in Kashmir was killed, who was a woman again, because she was doing TikToks. She was targeted and killed. And Islamists on, अब मैं Islamists नहीं बोलूँगी, Muslims on Twitter were showing their support for that. That is one thing. But two incidents have happened. One is the tweet that was, the link that was above right now. That is an actress in Maharashtra because she criticized Sharad Pawar. She is being charged with various sections. In fact, I heard that SC/ST Act bhi laga hai us pe for insulting quote unquote Buddha. And she is in remand home from past 14 days, and she's not getting a bail for just criticizing the government. She is arrested in Maharashtra. And this is not the first time. The Maharashtra government has done it to even Kangana Ranaut. Her house was demolished and sedition was filed on her. The second incident was the BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma. She was targeted by Islamists, and this was basically her one of the TV debates where Taslim Rahmani was insulting Hindu gods and specifically the Shivling. And Nupur Sharma's counter was not an insult, not a mockery, but just she said ki if you are making fun of my gods, shall I also make fun of the fact that Prophet Muhammad married a 6-year-old and consummated the marriage at the age of 9? She said it on
Same.
a live TV debate. And when she said that, her half edited video was taken, and Mohammed Zubair, who is the quote unquote fact checker on Twitter, he posted just a 30-second video where she's saying, ki, should I also make fun of your prophet who married a 6-year-old? And should I also make fun of the fact that he went on a flying donkey? Since you're calling my religion a myth and a mythology, should I start calling yours? And after that, she is getting death threats, rape threats. Her family is getting rape threats. and also she is getting threats of getting beheaded. And there are Instagram posts calling for Gustakh Rasool ki kya saza, and there's a question mark, and all Muslims are writing Sartan se juda in the comments. There are
No,
multiple
but are these
Instagram posts.
Pakistani Muslims or are these Indian Muslims that are writing that?
Indian Muslims, Indian Muslims,
I
Indian
see.
Muslims.
Just wanted to add one more incident. Just wanted to
अजय भाई आपका वो थोड़ा मैट्रिक्स में है आवाज सिग्नल सही नहीं
Andolan ji
है या
wanted to
विश्वामित्र जी
add one more incident. There's this fantastic actor from Kashmir. Her name is Amreen Bhatt. She was threatened by Islamist to not come on the stage. And this, mind it, this woman was wearing hijab and coming on the television show and music video.
This is the one the Andolan said, no, in the video.
No, that
ये
is
ऊपर
another
जो
one.
पिंड है वो उसकी बात कर रहे हैं आप कोई और बात
हाँ
कर
हाँ
रहे हैं
बिल्कुल 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 वो जो आप बता रहे थे वो 19 year old वो पाकिस्तान ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर की बात थी ये यहाँ हो रहा है एंड दिस वुमन उसका 10 साल का भतीजे को तक नहीं छोड़ा इन लोगों ने
करेक्ट
मतलब kids are not spared and this woman was targeted for just coming on the television even though she was wearing hijab that she's being behaya besharam all sorts of names. And this is not in isolation minded, this is basically this mindset and this is Islamist patriarchal mindset who thinks that any woman who just shows her face to public she is asking for it. You remember
my
this
problem Vishwamitra ji is this is now getting mainstreamed by the political parties
absolutely and that is the
and
most shameful thing.
Maharashtra. So, this is not only shameful, but I'm seeing a trend emerging. Are these Islamists in alliance with MVA? And specifically, women are repeatedly getting target. This is something which I'm not unable, which is I'm unable to digest. Why
No, so
is
I
this
think
trend
that a
happening?
lot of this is the kind of privilege that Muslims we've allowed this silly bullshit to be normalized, right? Like there is nothing special about Islam. It's just like the rest of the religions. Like Buddha, like Sikh, like any other religion.
No,
Islam
no,
is not special.
it's
So
not only not a special. It's not only not a special plural G, but I've been repeatedly asking these questions across various forum. What is Islam's contribution to humanity in the last 1400
So,
years? I do
Andolan,
not find any
I
value
agree,
addition.
But my larger point is the mainstream, right? And the mainstream narrative is that we should not critique Islam, right?
No, those
And so so that's why
that is
I don't
the
talk about Islamic history because to me it is Islamic mythology. There is nothing historic about Islam. It is Islamic. I don't know why it is biblical history, Islamic history, but Hindu mythology. It doesn't make sense to me. All of Islam's claims are mythological, like donkeys flying is mythological, like meeting someone inside a cave and getting revelation is entirely mythological. Nobody was there, nobody saw it, there is no proof for it. So if you call it Hindu mythology, I think by the same token, logical consistency, you should also call it Islamic mythology. And if it is mythology, we should be able to critique it. We should be able to draw it. We should be able to do anything we want. I wouldn't do it because I wouldn't want to hurt another human being. But if you're going to legislate this kind of bullshit, where it's one thing for you to say, वो कर सकते हैं लेकिन मैं नहीं करूंगा क्योंकि मैं decent इंसान हूं. But it's one thing to say that, and it's a whole other thing to legislate this and mainstream this kind of delusionary thinking, saying that no, that this idea is so special that nobody should even put a finger on it. I'm saying, darn that. Drop this children's loves mollycoddling bullshit. Islam is not special. It is an equal. It is not special. There is nothing special about you.
And somewhere plural G, I believe it is our moral obligation now to mainstream criticism of Islam.
Completely agree.
Because what is happening is the people who say it is blasphemy, etc., are actually Islamophobic. They are trying to create a fear of Islam in everybody's heart. If we openly speak about criticize the religion, its practices, its political aspects, its social aspects, even its religious aspects.
Yeah.
I live in India. I'm allowed to practice and propagate my religion.
And I can't propagate my religion until I tell you that mine is better than yours, which means I have to critique your religion.
Than yours. Yes, that I have to critique your religion.
Sir, you asked the question why
I just one more
parties are supporting it. It's only their vote bank, and nothing
No,
else.
but it's not even, it's partly true, but if you look at any Islamic majoritarian country, whether it's vote bank or not, they have this tendency. So in India, it is the vote bank.
Yeah. I'm
In
talking about
Palestine,
India,
it is
sir. I'm
something else.
talking
In
about
Pakistan, it is
India.
something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, B. I agree. But I'm saying that the larger point is these people are sensitive people. They think that their religion is special, right? It's a kind of a mythological idea. Islam in itself is mythology. None of us here should call it history. We should call this mythology, and it is criticable. All of us can take it apart like we can take apart any other idea. We should be able to completely critique it, and the state should actually protect you. Because the beautiful thing about a democracy is that you don't have to worry about fear the powerful. The freedom of speech means you don't have to fear the powerful, that the powerful can be critiqued. Islam has ruled India within quotes for 800 years, which means it has occupied the power corridors of India. It should be perfectly fine inside my franchise to critique this idea. I happen to think there are too many holes in it, and it's okay for us to draw, to paint, to do anything we want, because that's a part of our freedom of speech. There is nothing special about you. There is nothing special about Islam. You don't like it, this is Indian rules. If you don't like it, you can leave.
Nura, one more thing. How Muslims they prove their क्या बोलते हैं उसको थोप ऑफ आई ऑन यू कि जैसे उन्होंने जो बारबेरिक थे ना वो सोचते हैं कि आज हमने ये कर लिया, आज हमने ये कर लिया, हम सड़क पे निकल आए, हमने आपका ये चीज कब्जा कर लिया। तो वो हमारे एक्चुअल में हिंदू रिलीजन में वो प्रैक्टिस नहीं है कि हम लोग सड़क में निकले या ऐसा कुछ करें। तो वो डराना चाहते हैं एक तरीके से, और
बीजी में
जबकि उनको मालूम
बीजी
है
हमारा पॉइंट ये
खुद
होना चाहिए, बीजी हमारा पॉइंट ये हो
मैं
जाना
दो
चाहिए
दो
कि
सेकंड में कंप्लीट कर रहा हूँ। जबकि मेरे को लगता है वो खुद डरे हुए हैं, क्योंकि आज जो मदनी ने ना जो देवबंद में आज स्पीच दी थी कि हमें बहुत हम ऐसा करते नहीं, हमें बहुत शांति प्रिय रहना चाहिए, ऐसा करना चाहिए, हमको उनका रिटेलिएट नहीं करना चाहिए और हमारे ऊपर इल्जाम लगाए जा रहे हैं। तो उसकी बात से सुन के लगा मेरे को कि अंदर खाने तो ये कहीं ना कहीं ये भी मतलब इनको भी डर है। तो
अच्छा
इनका जो ये
नहीं,
आंदोलन जी,
वो
I have
इनका
a
दो
इश्यूज है
दो
ना,
दो
अरे अरे
बाइनरी
मुझे
रिएक्शंस
पॉइंट
है।
रखना था
एक
यार।
है डराना, दूसरा है डर जाना।
अरे एक
ये
टॉपिक ऑफ द रूम के ऊपर पॉइंट
guys,
रखना था।
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry, I'm muting everyone. Andolan ji, I have a question. Uh, so what has been security provided to Nupur Sharma after the death threats, because these are very serious issues. So has there been any security provided by the government?
I'm sure it should have been, though while I'm not sure, but I'm quite confident that security ought to be provided to this lady.
But Andolanji, there is one question, right? Till what time, like people who raise the right thing, right? When you're saying the right thing, whatever Nupur Sharma has said, these all are written in their books, right? And there's nothing wrong about it. People, when they can criticize Hinduism, criticize Christianity, why can't people criticize Islam also? And if they are so scared of that, then
The
just
funny thing, she didn't even criticize it. She just said ki this is what is written in your books.
No, but
Should I
Vishaka,
make
I'm
fun
saying
of
that
it?
you take a principled stand in this. No, for example, say even so, what if they even criticize? She didn't criticize. That's fair enough. But I'm saying, what if you criticize? So what? What is special about Islam? Like, tell me one thing that is special about Islam that other religions don't have. It's mythological. Everything is mythological in Islam. What is real?
Yeah, true that. But let's get some more viewpoints. And what I'm in this room not so much worried about Islamist, because that has been their way to disempower women, to mute the voice of empowered and vocal women. My worrying factor is that this trend is now getting adopted by mainstream political parties. Now, Sharad Pawar has emerged as a new prophet. Nobody can criticize him, otherwise, he'll be thrown inside jail for 14 days, irrespective whether he's a 25-year-old girl.
So the Islamization of India,
सर
this is one more proof of it, because India can be Islamized in many ways. One of it is by becoming intolerant.
Right, true.
So if Sharad Pawar acting that way is actually becoming Islamized, because in Islam criticism is not allowed, and Sharad Pawar is just doing just that.
True that. Samji, Vishwamitraji, Vakas, Pranav, Sam.
So I just
any
wanted to
viewpoints?
make
Yeah, I
quick
think
point, and I'm not who's going to speak too much. I personally don't like that women are being targeted by clergy, and this whole nonsense of women should be under hijab or parda, and they are those are the women only respected, has to come to an end. And I'm sorry, hijab is not a choice; it's a conditioning. You remember the lady, the Muslim lady, made India proud. Her name is Nikhat Zareen. She won us India boxing in the World Boxing Championship, a gold
Yeah,
medal. And look at that, instead of Islamic community being proud of her, they're trolling her, saying that she didn't wear hijab and she wore short and she went into the ring. And with whom she was fighting, the other lady was from some Muslim country and she was wearing a hijab. So like, learn. Even though the one who lost the game, they are celebrating her rather than Nikhat, because Nikhat was not wearing hijab and she was wearing short. I think this mindset has to come to an end. I don't know why our Indian feminist left liberals are supporting this forceful practice. It's highly, there's nothing empowering about hijab and burqa to women. It's a highly patriarchal practice. I would never want any of my family women to be treated like this. And Indian
exactly.
Muslims are also part of our family. I'm sorry, as much as a lot of people say that we are Indian,
Yes,
and Indian, as India we are family, and Indian women are suffering from this practice. This has to come to an end. They can bring this kind of medieval practice in the countries where they want to practice, but not in India. And I think this has, there is a lot of larger ramification of this practice. It's not only for Muslim women. A lot of other community people see this as a virtuous thing, because you see, one radicalization inspire other loony radical fringes, and they also want women to be covered, otherwise they are asking for it. And I think that encourages this kind of crime. I have lived in the countries where the women are not forced to wear hijab or any kind of dress code not imposed, and the crime rate has been minimum on those. So there is a high correlation with there is a demand, a virtuous demand for women to get covered, and crime against sexual crime against women. There's a case that we need to discuss about.
Yeah, can I come in, Anandji?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is how it is. There is one thing factual about quote unquote Islamic history. The only factual thing about Islamic history is the invasion history, how they brutally violated women across the globe in various countries, and how countries like Malaysia, Indonesia uh, uh, have seen the wrath of invasions. I mean, India fortunately got away with only like 1/4 of its state being Islamized, but I mean, I feel pity to those countries which couldn't protect their territories. That is the only thing that I find factual about Islamic history is the invasion history and how they violated women. That's the only thing that tips off my mind. Now let's come to why certain behavior. I don't think that behavior is only an entitlement of what they read and what is being preached to them. It's an entitlement that the state has given them. Started from the Britishers. If you read, I've been reading J. Saji Bak's India That Is Bharat. He has given a beautiful etymology of HRCE Acts. So initially, HRCE Acts were meant, I mean, the Religious Charitable and Endowment Act was meant both for Muslims and Hindus. But because of the behavior of the Islamic community in India, the British government removed Religious and Charitable Endowments Act for the Islamic community. Since then, no government, no individual had the courage to even raise the topic. Until today, nobody even perhaps knows about this in the political stream. That's one point I want to address. One example of how behavior affects the state. Second point is the whole concept of blasphemy. Even the Britishers gave into the concept of blasphemy, and with the publication of this famous or infamous book called Rangila Rasool, you legitimately brought in an act called 295A that is there only and only to protect the very meaning of blasphemy is meant only for Abrahamic faiths. From the quote unquote constitutional architect Dr. B.R. Ambedkar to the most recent infamous Why I Am Not a Hindu, my deities are abused day in and day out with false interpretations. with false readings and with newer versions of our epics and Puranas like Mahabharata and Ramayana. For a non-believer of Islam to critique Islam, and to be called Islamophobia in today's world, I don't need to do anything else. As someone said earlier, you don't need to critique it. You don't need to do anything. All you have to do is cite a verse. That's it. Citing a verse, if that in itself is Islamophobia, I think Quran is intrinsically Islamophobic, and henceforth Quran should be cancelled, and we need a newer version of Quran. That's exactly what a lot of people are asking for. And coming to this aspect of, I don't know why this incident with Nupur Sharma herself did not get famous. Just a day before this incident happened on Times Now, an incident happened with Nupur Sharma on Republic Channel. I think Niranjan was hosting the debate, and a Kashmiri leader, when Nupur was making a point, said, "Go and do belly dance in front of your leaders." And Niranjan called it out at that point in time, but it later did not take a Twitter storm. But this happened to the same woman. So going by the pattern, I see two things here. One, this shouldn't be taken lightly at all, given what has happened to Kamlesh Tiwari, given what has happened to what has happened in Bengaluru, I think a couple of years ago, when one Congress's
Even Kishan
leaders.
Bharwad.
Correct. When your temple was almost set abrasion. So given these two most recent events of how the community reacted, quote unquote community, the moderate, peaceful minority, Darahua minority community reacted to blasphemy, I think we as a largely democratic population should not take this lightly. The state should give full protection, and it's high time we start challenging. Instead of challenging just to the community, we should challenge the state. Since historically you have been giving them a free hand, you brought in laws for them, you brought in 295A. I want to challenge those laws. I want to challenge the status quo. I want to challenge the Minority Affairs Commission. Why is Minority Affairs Commission meant only for one community? Why not? Jains are a more minority than quote unquote Islamic minority.
Well, the
There are
Brahmins are a
Buddhists.
minority in Tamil Nadu. Why
Sorry.
not? The
Exactly.
Brahmins in Tamil Nadu are a minority.
Okay, I think no. When I
Yeah.
said minority religion is what I'm referring to.
No, sir, I know, I understand.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just saying that there are
just
I'm
one
just
small
agreeing that
point.
there are lots of
Yeah,
minorities.
there's just a small point which I want to understand again, and I'm repeating at the cost. The idea is not just calling out, the problem of women in Islam. That is well known, well established since the day Islam came into being. My problem is with the advent of social media, we found a lot of sane voices, good voices coming in from the women community, which was earlier not so prevalent. This has resulted into India taking a new shape politically. Is there an alliance between certain political parties and Islamic groups to muzzle this momentum of women empowerment in this country?
I'll just give a small reset. So there are two cases. One is pinned on the top. It is about BJP spokesperson getting death threats over alleged blasphemy. Alleged, not blasphemy. And second is a actor in Maharashtra who was jailed for 14 days plus and is still in jail because she opposed the NCP leader Sharad Pawar and she criticized his policies and she is jailed. And Pranav, you said about Nupur Sharma, so that is the blasphemy case on the top. And the interesting thing is, she never even blasphemed in the first place. Blasphemy is something like you insult a religious figure, but she didn't even do that. She just said, "This is what your book says, and if you go on abusing my gods, should I do it?" She asked, "Should I do it?" And that's what Islamists are taking it to this big level, and she's getting death threats and rape threats. Not just her, but also her family. So the BJP should provide her some sort of, protection, maybe a Y plus security, because otherwise this lady's life is in danger. And
So this
the
is
writing is on the wall.
this Vishakha is the 101 on how Maulanas, Islamist and political people who associate with Islamist generate Islamophobia in the society by giving these kind of threats.
Andolanji, I want to make one point here. So, if we see this Nupur Sharma's case, she didn't even say, right, as Visaka rightly mentioned, she didn't like insulted anyone. She just said that okay, these things are mentioned in your books, and it was just like quote from their books, nothing from her side, right? But if you look on the other side, in the Gyanvapi temple, for so long, like I think more than 300 years, they have been, doing wazoo, and you know what happens in wazoo,
So just
especially.
one point, Honey Bhai, I'll just add in on Gyanvapi. The current case which is going on is actually not on Gyanvapi Mandir or the Shiv Mandir alone. This case was also filed by 5 empowered women coming from the middle class society for the Shringar Gauri temple. So this again, I'm seeing this as a trend, right? Women getting empowered is a threat not only to Islam but to a couple of political parties. And we
I
see
mean,
the way women are getting targeted repeatedly. It is
I
it
mean,
is it has now become mainstream. You can count repeatedly Kangna Ranaut, Navneet Rana, this Chitle lady in this thing, just for opposing a political party. They are being targeted like anything. All guns of a government, of a state government, blazing towards single independent ladies. And then we have the Islamists who have been targeting this young girl in Kashmir, Muslim girl itself in Pak occupied Kashmir. One Muslim girl was killed just for making a TikTok video. Then we have very day before yesterday, we have got a BJP spokesperson. She's been threatened by Maulanas on stage. And I remember about 1.5 years back, one Maulana even slapped a lady because she spoke against her, not against her religion, because she spoke against her. And he made a remark that you don't have a worthy status to sit equivalent to me.
So this is
do
the
you
reality.
remember? Do you remember Gauhar? Hold on. Do you remember Gauhar Khan Andolanji? I mean, she is a typical leftist Islamist, but still. Do you remember how she got slapped on her set for wearing quote unquote a gown which was too revealing for her Muslim driver, or I think someone working on the set itself slapped her on camera, and it was a reality TV show. Can you imagine that? She getting slapped, and everyone is all feminists are just like,
Just like her.
"Hmm."
No,
Some
and Sarah
some people
Khan.
smoke. Some people smoke. Like Sushmita Sen spoke about it. Except that I didn't see any feminist like some feminist post for her.
No, even Sarah Khan, the Big Boss contestant, she has to apologize for
Oh,
passing a normal remark.
for burqa. She said that why
Yeah,
should we wear
yeah.
burqa?
And she was threatened to, I don't know, her
And
family was threatened. She was threatened.
she was threatened
Yeah.
by a female Muslim lawyer, saying that how dare you speak against burqa? We are gonna file cases on you. And her name is Shabnam Sheikh, the lawyer that filed
So
a case against
why
Sarah
are
Khan.
people getting threatened by women becoming more vocal, women becoming more empowered? What is the problem?
Andolanji,
Can anybody?
and
So let me check with Vakas. I think Vakas understands Islam. Vakas, why is
I,
Islam threatened by
I just
vocal
want
and
to add.
empowered women? Just 1 second. Yeah.
Well, Andolan, it's about how you perceive it. I don't perceive it as if Islam is threatened by the empowered movement, because Islam at the very peak had empowered women running the Islamic fleets and Islamic, I would say, let's say Aisha. And so there are so many examples from the very beginning that there had been empowered. Even Khadija herself was an empowered woman. So how
No,
can
very
you say
valid
that
point.
Islam?
Yes, so Vakas, I give this example repeatedly, right? And this is a very good point that you brought into picture, right? How Islam has, degraded the role of women in Islamic society, right? And very good example of both these wives of Muhammad, right? The first wife, Khadija, right? She is a very empowered, businesswoman, right? Pre-Islamic days, right? She's running her business empire as a widow. Okay, and there's no problems. So, pre-Islam, trade and commerce is on a rise. Women are running successful businesses without the need of men. She is a widow and yet respected in the society. No problems there. And fast forward 30 years, right? When
Even
Islam,
Prophet's
just 1 second,
grandmother.
Vishaka, 1 second, right? Fast forward 30 years, and then we see the young bride of Muhammad had, instead of running something value adding enterprise or a peaceful enterprise, she was forced to participate in a war. This is what Islam does to women. From trade and commerce value adding activity to the activity of war, they bring you in conflict. They introduce conflict in the society. This
Mr.
is what,
Andulan,
yeah.
why don't you see it this way? That women empowerment is not just in trade and this and that. It is in armies. It is everywhere. Be it in NATO, be it everywhere. That's what we call true women empowerment. So be that in war, be that in business, be that in anything, in education.
No, but
If they
Vakas,
are
we
leading
only,
something, if they
uh,
hold powers, that's empowerment.
so, Vakas, what you're saying and what is on ground is entirely different things. What? ये भाई कौन है?
गणेश जी
गणेश
नीचे
गणेश
इनको नीचे कर देते हैं भाई. हाँ, okay. So Vakas, this is precisely the example that I gave. It is not about what is leading. This is what Islam did to a perfectly decent society where women were freely running trade, to a stage in 30 years where they had to participate and engage in a conflict. Right? Then
Oh,
again, just
come
1 second,
on,
just
Andulan,
1 second.
Andulan.
Vakas, just 1 second, right? On your point itself, right? And having said so, right, you just said women need to lead this, women need to lead that, right? In army, let us look at the Middle East countries, right? Saudi Arabia's army is not even its army. I doubt whether there are Muslim women leading any post in Saudi Arabia army or Qatar army or Oman army. They've all outsourced their army bit to Americans, right? And let's look at Pakistan. Are there any wing commanders, any fighter pilots, any army women in their predominantly in Pakistani army?
There
The
are
answer
so
to
many.
that
Do
is
you want
देर
me to
आर सर
count
देर
it?
आर नहीं नहीं सर है सर वो
just
तो
hold
है
on.
सर
मैं बता रहा
नहीं
हूँ
सही
सर.
बोल रहे हो सर
हाँ हाँ,
है
नहीं होगा, है, मैं ये नहीं मना कर रहा हूँ कि नहीं है, पर मैं एक बात आपको बता रहा हूँ. इस्लामिक सोसाइटी में पूरा मिडिल ईस्ट आप छान मारो, राइट? वॉरियर वुमेन तो छोड़ो, दे हैव आउटसोर्स द इंटायर वॉर मशीनरी टू यूएस. Or somewhere I believe that is a decent thing to do. And coming back to the example again, in the early days of Islam itself, trade and commerce for women was replaced by introduction into conflicts. So this is what the problem is, and I have raised in the same room itself. Vakas, if you go, there is a host of recordings available. We keep the replays on of most of our rooms. We have discussed about multiple issues with respect to position of women in Islamic society, be it succession right, be it polygamy, be it triple talaq, be it halala, be it succession right, be it disappropriate power with respect to dissolution of marriage, that is talaq versus khula. We have held threadbare rooms, and
Andulan,
yeah.
the point is, you know, and I know we had long debates over all these issues. You know that, I know that. See, the point is, I do not want to get into those debates again. But one thing, the reason I came on the speaking panel, you guys were mentioning a lady, a Muslim lady, who got killed by Islamist, according to you. So I totally condemn that. But the problem
Yeah,
is,
and
there is
not
one
only
single
that,
problem.
according
No, no, no,
Vakas,
no, no, no.
not
The
only
problem
that,
is,
some time
let me
back,
complete.
a girl in Kashmir, a Muslim girl at that,
I'm going
was
nowhere.
ridiculed
Andolan, just let
publicly
me
for not
complete.
wearing a hijab.
Andolan, just let me complete. See, the examples that you are bringing in are from a conflicting area, an area of war. So, in a conflicting area, in an area of a war, there is no law and order. Be that Islamist, be that Hinduism, be that any group of people, they violate all the rules and regulations. So we cannot appreciate them. We will always condemn
No,
that.
but the
But
problem, Vakas, is
applying all
Islam turns
Andolan,
every area
Andolan,
into an area of
Andolan.
war. Yeah,
But that's
that's
not
the
the way,
Bringing
problem.
an
Vakas.
example,
Vakas,
bringing
that's
an
not the way
example
to
from a
justify.
conflicting area, and 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 and,
Andolanji, Vakasji,
and
if I can
applying
add a
it on
few
the
things.
whole, on the mainstream,
I do
on
not
the
agree
No,
that
but
the
peaceful
war to
areas.
fair.
peaceful has no
That's
Point
roots.
not.
taken, Vakas. Point taken.
How can
Just
we
one
say
second,
that?
Harish, just 1 second, right? But point taken, Vakas. But I gave you an example, including the first 30 years of Islam, where a perfectly decent society was converted into a warring zone. This is precisely what Islam does to every society, right? Their core is. So वकास एक से माइक शॉट अप कर दीजिए, मैं बीच में आपके नहीं बोल रहा था, मेरा पॉइंट भी सुन लीजिए. तो ये प्रॉब्लम इस्लाम के अंदर है कि अगर सोसाइटी पीसफुल है और उसमें स्ट्रगल नहीं है, but since jihad is necessary struggle that they have to bring in their lives, not only struggle they bring into their own lives, they bring it into lives of other as well, if not anybody else, into the lives of women in that society. And this is well known and well established that Islam has been at the forefronts of disempowering women. But having said that, let's move on. Let's go to Harish ji. He wanted to make a point.
I just wanted to make one point.
What I wanted to say was, Andolanji, we cannot say that there are no laws in a conflicting zone and then justify the Quranic interpretations that say that it is okay to enslave women, it is okay to have sex slaves, it is okay to create atrocities on women, and say, well, it always happens in a war zone. Islam is just stating that. That is not true. Even in the historic societies of
No,
this continent within India,
Bombay is not a war zone, and we have a
it is not.
pinned link over
No,
here. That Sara Khan, a
certainly not.
Mumbai actress, right? She had to
Yeah,
apologize because she was threatened.
indeed.
Delhi is not
Look at the amount
Delhi
of
is not
hate
a
she
war zone.
receives.
Delhi is
Yeah,
not a war zone.
yeah,
And Nupur Sharma is receiving death threats and beheading threats in
indeed.
Delhi.
Indeed. And not only that, Andolanji, the problem is this: the people who suffer the most because of this are not only within India, right? There are women within Islam who suffer. It is not just the only the Hindu women we are talking about. Like women who pretend to be liberal or who try to be liberal, they get threats too. And how is that? How can you justify that? And these are coming from their Quranic interpretations. We cannot deny that. They will vehemently fight for it.
No,
Today,
I
Zakir
see the
Ali, for
example
example,
of this
yeah,
young kid, Urfi Zaved, right? These days, she has been, trying to promote a brand by, wearing her choice of clothes. That's perfectly all right. The amount of hate she's getting from this community,
precisely.
I mean, it's out of the world.
Precisely. And now, where do these things come from? They come from a book. I'm not saying everybody is like that. We've heard Jazib Ji, we've heard people from Pakistan who have good interpretations of these. Very good. We want you to win the argument, Waqas Ji. I don't want to win this argument. I want you to win the argument. But unfortunately, your voice is drowned down by the Deobandi school. Now, is that our problem? Yes, it is affecting the whole world, including your own women. How do you solve that? We are not saying Quran says this, because there are people within your community who say that this is not the interpretation. But where are those? While we have people today on one end saying that it's haram to pray in the Shivling mosque, there is an equally opposite Ovaisi who says no, it is okay, we have to have it back. So which is getting the voice? Not your voice.
And Hariji,
The
my
voice
problem is
gets
my
different.
problem for today's discussion is not Islamist, right? But this Islamist tendency of disempowering vocal and empowered women is creeping into society with mainstream political parties like NCP, like Shiv Sena, which are targeting vocal and empowered women. And we have repeatedly seen this
100%.
example. Kangna Ranaut,
100%.
Navneet Rana, and this girl, Lady Chitle. She just criticized. I mean, has Sharad Pawar become some sort of a prophet that people cannot criticize him?
Indeed,
Has
I know.
Uddhav
But you
Thackeray
see
become
that?
some kind of prophet
Yeah.
who cannot be criticized?
Yeah, I know.
And even if he's a
It's really
prophet,
very
right?
sad.
I mean, even if it is any prophet, if he deserves criticism, even if he doesn't deserve criticism, it is in a
Andolanji,
country like India full right to be criticized, and you give a counter response, a valid response, though it's not worthy of criticism because of XYZ reasons. That's a perfectly all right debate, but just to muzzle a voice that you can't even speak against anyone. That's Islam. That's Islam. Increasing Islamophobia. Let's move on. Let's go to other people on the panel.
yeah, I want to speak.
Sam wanted to say something,
Ji.
honey. So just we'll listen to Sam and then we'll come back.
Andolan ji, I have two
Hello.
direct question to you. First, what are the severity of these cases which have been filed against her under section 500, 501, and 153A? Because this is them being sending a message. Then don't you dare question us, criticize us. So what are the severity of these cases first, please?
So you know what they've been trying to do, and somehow I have to now start questioning the local courts as well. You're talking about the Chitle case, right, Sam, or some other
Yes,
one?
yes, the previous article you just posted above.
Yes,
From
yes.
that only
So
I
this,
have, yes.
so you know, I've not gone down into individual what are the sections applied, but the local court. I was surprised today. I thought that maybe the local court, like they asked Navneet Rana to be released, would probably ask this lady also to be released, but they increased her remand by 14 days. I mean, damn, what are we trying over here? Has she done a murder? Is she hiding something? Her posts are visible on social media. What do you need the remand for?
My question is, Andolanji, what are the severity of these cases? She will get a bail
I
sooner
know,
or
but
later, but what are
problem, Sam, is these individual ladies, right, who are not associated with a large political infrastructure or leading lawyers, will get a date in a higher court in 2 months' time, and that is where this kind of gross dictatorship needs to be called out.
how? So
Yeah,
it's okay.
so
Yes, Honey, why? Please allow me one point only. So, Andolanji, what is the way forward? Because they have sent the message, they will slap you with these cases and you can fight them for months. So, first option is either you can shut up and stay silent. Or
No,
not be
Sam, the
vocal
time
on
is,
these things.
no, no, it's
Or
not about being vocal, it's
or the second
about
option.
normalizing it.
What are
Normalize.
the cases
Everybody should
filed
start
against her?
speaking.
Oh, yes, exactly. My second point is,
Everybody
or
should, yeah.
everyone, or everyone must criticize it on a
Mass
mass
level,
level.
normalize it. Whosoever a problem with
Hello?
criticism, normalize that criticism. Be it against Islam, be it against Sharad Pawar, be it against Uddhav Thackeray. Anybody.
Hello?
So,
yeah,
Andolanji,
so
what should the UP government do now?
I would.
Maharashtra government have played their cards.
So,
What should the UP government do?
how is Chitle case associated with the UP government? We'll come to that. But let Honey wanted to speak for some time.
yeah,
Honey,
yeah.
over to you.
Thanks, Nuranji. So there were two main points, right? So you have raised like why these threats they are giving to like women. It's not about only women. It's about like if you look at in their Quran, it is clearly mentioned that to create the threat in the heart of the non-believers, right? So and also slit their throats. That's what mentioned in their Quran, right? So that's what they are doing. Now later to the women, why they hate women, like whenever the women says anything, they why they get so hyper, because in the hadith it is clearly mentioned that women are like half like mentally not equal to the man, right? And whenever a woman raises some points, some valid points, they get more furious, because how can a woman raise such things, and how can she speaks in front of us? That's what threats them more, and that's why these people are actually very aggressively attacking these women's. That's what I wanted to make point.
Hello,
Yeah, who's this?
Agil. My name is Agil.
Yeah, go ahead again.
Okay, thank you for giving me
We follow
opportunity.
PTR
Yeah,
order.
okay. Sorry, Akhil. Before you, there was Sabzi. So we'll go to Sabzi and then come to you.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh yeah, thank you, Andalan. So about this thing, uh, blasphemy thing. First of all, somebody asked. So like even during that time, are we allowed to discuss about the Islamic things like the scriptures or just this social issue, like current issues we are discussing? I mean, can I quote from the times of the Prophet himself, or like we are only limited to this? We want to our discussion to be limited to only current events. I don't know.
No,
I guess
you can talk what you want. You can make your point. No worries.
Okay. All right. So this thing, I will talk about two women who did blasphemy. It was not actually blasphemy. It was like criticizing Muhammad in the time of Muhammad himself. One of the women was Asma bint Marwan. She was a Jewish poetess, and she wrote some poems against Muhammad. And so Muhammad ordered his men to get rid of these women. So Muhammad's men, the Sahabas, went to this woman's house where she was like, just sleeping with her babies. She was having some young babies, and she was sleeping with them. So these Sahaba separated her babies from her and then killed her. There is another woman who used to, criticize Muhammad because it was one of Muhammad's Ghazwa in which she got, enslaved, and she was like sold to a Sahaba. And that Sahaba was blind. And this woman used to criticize Muhammad that it was Muhammad's Ghazwas that has made me a slave from a free woman. So this thing was disliked by the Sahaba. He said that do not criticize my prophet. He's the best of the men to have ever walked on earth. But she did not stop the criticizing Muhammad. So this guy just beheaded her one day. And when this news reached Muhammad, he asked, who has killed this woman? And the Sahaba said that I have killed this woman, Ya Rasulullah, because this woman used to criticize her. Do I get a punishment for killing her? So the Prophet says, no, you don't get a punishment. So it is clear, like whether it's men or women, the punishment for doing a blasphemy against Muhammad is you getting killed. This is the Islamic law created by Muhammad himself. Whoever did blasphemy against him was subjected to brutal killing. Now coming about this, why Islamists are, afraid, or like why they can't tolerate empowered women, because again, it dates back to the same prophet of Islam. Prophet said, unblessed is a nation which chooses a woman as their leader. It's an authentic hadith in which like the prophet is criticizing those people who choose women as their leader. So women cannot be your leader. Then there is other hadiths which talk about like prophet, being angry on people who give more freedom to women. So this thing, these Islamists are doing against empowered women are like they are not creating it on their own. It comes from the very basics of Islam. Now, how do you actually deal with it? Because you cannot just. I mean, like these things cannot be just like you cannot just ask them to just forget about the religion and stuff like that. There has to be a proper solution to these problems. And well, I believe like I don't think this is the right platform to even talk about that. But what I think is like just condemning like some random liberal Muslims coming and condemning such acts or such threatenings is not going to solve it. Like you have to go to the roots of the problem, which is the Islamic theology itself. And unless that is done, your condemnation of such acts isn't going to help much, because this is a repetitive cycle which we keep on seeing every time.
Sabzi, the problem is this is now getting this bad practice of eliminating vocal women voices specifically is now gaining traction in a lot of places in the world. So a very wrong precedence is being established, and that's the concern. I mean, if it is Islam, if whatever Taliban are doing to Afghanistani women, certainly it is problematic. But then if those women are not complaining, perfectly all right. But if I would never want that kind of thing to happen in India, or for that matter, to any woman across the globe.
Hello.
Yeah, who's this?
My name is Agil. Agil.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Agil. I'm from Kerala. I would like to discuss some matters from my state, which is connected to your topic, because
Please go ahead.
I know. Okay, I know there is a predominant ideology in whole India that Kerala, Bengal, and Kashmir are going to the same way of Islamic Jihad. Actually, it is almost true, because the current activities and scenarios in Kerala is showing the trend is moving towards that Islamization of Kerala is almost complete because the population, the demographic change is evident now. We could see it on streets, and the power of PFI in Kerala is very high. Actually, there is an ideology wing. There is a Sangh Parivar ideologist. He's a kind of ideology maker for BJP IT cell. TG Mohandas. He used to say that Kerala is the headquarters of Islamic Jihad in whole India, because if you know the recent Sri Lankan blast, also there was some Kerala connection. That guy used to come here in Kerala and train and left to Sri Lanka for blast. That was a reason why Kerala is could be considered as a headquarters of Islamic Jihad. Also, coming to the woman empowerment topic, you know, in Kerala, the free speech is comparatively higher. I could support it because the free speech in Kerala is very higher, because mainly I don't know the exact reason why, sir, because the free speech is very high because there are a lot of liberal wings, not left, like there are atheist groups in the due to the some after the central power change in 2014. A sudden shift has happened because a polarization has happened in the ideology wing of India. The left wing and this woke group completely began to support the Islamist agenda. But in Kerala also we could see that there is a evidence split in the in the ideology wing, because the atheist group began to abuse Islam also, because nowadays there are a lot of ex-Muslims from Kerala. The one of the ladies, Jamida teacher, she's from my district and very close to my house, and she used to live in a Hindu majority area because she couldn't go out and live in because our neighboring district is Malappuram. You know, Malappuram is known as a mini Pakistan. She couldn't travel alone in Malappuram. If she gets spotted, she would definitely get raped, killed, or we don't know what would happen to her, because if her body could be recovered, because due to fear of this continuous threat from this Islamist gang, began to be shifted her location to Kapad. Kapad is a beach area in Kozhikode region, and she used to live in a Hindu majority in the area. And the some groups are giving the protection for her safety purpose, and also police is also supporting her, because two times, more than three times, murder attempt has attempt. These Islamist guys had tried to kill her, because one guy entered her house with a knife. Could you imagine that? One guy entered her house with a guy. Now she is putting surveillance cameras, dogs for her protection. Even after all these protection, these guys are infiltrating all these and trying to kill. Because main reason, because that she's the first. You could this is the first woman imam in the whole Islamic world to do the namaz. Please note my word, first world woman imam. She's a woman imam, first woman imam, Muslim woman imam in the world to do the namaz in a mosque. After that, she is a very brilliant woman in Islamic
Is that
scriptures.
allowed? Is that allowed? Let me check with Sabzi if he's still around. I don't think they allow women to be
Yeah, that's why I'm coming to that. It was during the Sabrimala protest that she's a scapegoat in Islam. Actually, she used to work in Sunni group, Mujahideen group, like that. Later, she went to a little reformist group, which is known as Cheganur Maulavi. He was killed during the late 90s due to his reformist attempt due to his continuous attempt to bring reforms in Islam. He was killed because she during her before becoming the atheist, she used to work in Chaganur Maulavi wing. It is an most reformist diluted form of Islam, but there are very few in numbers, and she did a namaz in their support, and it was covered by media one Al Jazeera like that. But after that, she began to get a lot of threats, and this predominant anti-Muslim agendas in Islam is very evident in their scriptures and their belief system. So these guys started to abuse her. Then she became fed up of her, and then renounced the Islamic beliefs and took we called it as murtad. Murtad means she renounced Islamic belief and became an atheist, and began to publicly bash Islamic scriptures and put out these scriptures in front of the public. You could check her YouTube channel. There is a YouTube channel known as Jamida Teacher Talks. and it is most of the videos are in Malayalam because she's working on to translate it into English videos and Hindi videos for more public audience. And this is very common. There are many ex-Muslims in Kerala. The recent one is a boy who used to study 13 years in an Islamic institution to become an Hudavi. Hudavi is a Islamic scholar. It is a kind of degree for Islamic scholar, Hudavi, Imam, like that. He used to study for Hudavi. It is a 13-year, 14-year course. They send their children after at a very young age to these studies, and he studied there at Hudavi in Malappuram district. But he left Islam and come out of the public to speak against them, and he is also getting death threats because in Kerala there is a we could see so many changes because I would support these atheist groups because they don't fall in the trap of these Islamists as like the woke teams and lefty liberal teams doing. I could see in the whole India, pan India, I couldn't see such kind of moves because I don't see any ex-Muslims movements in other parts of India except Kerala. In Kerala, there is a lot of ex-Muslims movement, and they are, and these Sanghrus are directly or indirectly supporting because these guys need protection. Only central government could give protection. The Kerala government, communist government, don't give any protection to these guys because in Kerala police there are also green movement. It is known as a hidden group of PFI. There are some Muslim guys in Kerala police. They started to work for the Islamic fundamentalism and jihadism, and they used to release the information about the RSS workers, BJP workers, their locations, phone records like that into these PFI groups. The recent murder of Srinivasan, and he there is a Fire Force guy used to help him. The Fire Force guy was part of the planning to murder him. Could you imagine that? And also there is a 3 police officers. The few days before, 3 police officers was also under the radar of intelligence wing for leaking the information from Munnar Police Department. Munnar is a tourism spot in Kerala. They used to work there. These 3 policemen leaked the information about the used to work along with the PFI jihadists. You don't know the Kerala is a headquarters of Islamic jihadism, but there are some positive movements also happening in Kerala. But I don't know how long this could help to prevent the Kerala from complete Islamization, as like in as happened in Kashmir, because
Uh,
that's all.
Not
Thank
gonna
you very much.
happen, Akhil. Not gonna happen, Akhil. So rest assured, there are troubles in certain places, but with the current leadership there, and with the kind of brute majority and the confidence this current government enjoys with the people of India, the wet dreams of Islamists are over, and this is the frustration that they're taking out on innocent women. But let me also, so if anybody else want to speak can flash their mics. Otherwise, I'll be closing this room in another 10 minutes.
मैं बोलूँ आंदोलन जी?
हाँ, बोल लीजिए।
हाँ, मैंने आपको ना वो बैक चैनल पे भेजा है, वही नुपुर शर्मा का जो उसने जो डिबेट में बोला था ना, तो वो गलत नहीं बोला था। तो अगर आप वो लगा दें तो
हाँ,
सबको
वो
पता लग
क्लैरिफाई
जाएगी।
हो चुका है। विशा का पूरे रेफरेंस के साथ बता चुके हैं। वो
वो
पहले
डीपी
लगाया
में भी आप देख लो, मैंने वही लगाया हुआ अपने डीपी
जी
में।
नीरज जी, अजय जी, सैम जी. Sam, you haven't spoken. You are out. I think Sam is not here right now.
आंदोलन जी, मैं जस्ट एक बात बोलना चाहता हूँ। आप नुपुर शर्मा का केस देखिए। नुपुर शर्मा सी इज अ स्पोक्स पर्सन ऑफ बीजेपी, राइट? मतलब वो कोई छोटी मोटी नॉर्मल इंसान नहीं है, बीजेपी को रिप्रेजेंट कर रही है नेशनल मीडिया में, राइट? तो सी इज क्वाइट पावरफुल वुमेन। उसको भी थ्रेट मिल रहे हैं, सी नीड्स स्पेशल सिक्योरिटी नाउ। तो अब कॉमन आदमी का सोचिए, अगर कोई कॉमन इंसान अगर कुछ भी बोल दे तो उसको तो अगर आप देखोगे, अगर नुपुर शर्मा को स्पेशल सिक्योरिटी दी जाएगी, इस तरीके से की जाएगी, तो कॉमन लोग तो और घबराएंगे कुछ भी बोलने से पहले। उनको लगेगा कि भाई अगर इसको इतनी सिक्योरिटी मिल रही है, इसको इतना डर है जब मरने का, मतलब इसको खतरा थ्रेट है, तो हम जैसे को तो क्या ही होगा। आपको नहीं लगता कि ये मतलब उल्टी तरफ जा रही है, एक्चुअली नेगेटिव हो रहा है? अगर इसको ज्यादा सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड की जाए, लोग डरेंगे भाई, कोई कुछ बोलने से भी घबराएगा।
I think it is time that we start treating the Maulavis who issue death threats as terrorists. It is time that we go and shoot them to kill the moment they start issuing death threats against any Indian citizen in the country. जैसे कश्मीर में होता है, we hunt down jihadis, terrorists trained by Pakistan or otherwise. We kill them because we have a law. We have to treat the Maulvis, the mullahs, and the jihadis within the rest of India in the same way. Once you start killing them, that will instill fear in their hearts, like Quran says, to instill fear in the hearts of kafirs. Once you instill that fear, and to Andolan's point earlier, let us normalize the criticism of Islam around the country. I was very heartbroken when I heard from Akhil just now, and he was talking about Kerala. I have friends in Kerala who tell me that they have had to change their houses. They have to sell their houses and move because of the Islamist threat growing in their neighborhood. And they have lived in their houses for centuries, generations. The same thing that was happening in Kashmir in the mid 80s is happening in Kerala already. So I would assume that in another 10 years, if this continues, we'll have another Kashmir-like genocide in Kerala. If not on that scale, on maybe a smaller scale. And also remember that there's a community of Jews who lives in Cochin. I don't know whether all of them are still around, but imagine what happens if a crazy mullah goes and starts murdering Jews, that's minority population of Jews who cannot protect themselves. And the government is not in support in Kerala for the Hindus or the atheists or the seculars. The government is completely communalized, completely Islamicized. So we have to act right now before anything else happens. We should treat these mullahs as terrorists. That's what they
No, I
are.
agree
They
with
cannot,
you. Yeah, I
they
agree with
cannot
you,
conduct
Bhagat.
rallies in public.
Any fatwa or any statement calling for beheading anybody else needs to be treated as a terrorist activity. The guy needs to be booked under UAPA and thrown inside jail, or if not possible, eliminate him. Let's set up some examples of people who try to be over smart. Valid point, Bhagatji. So with this, I think most of the people on the panel. Ajay ji, Neeraj ji, आप लोग कुछ concluding remarks? Sam, Ajay, Neeraj.
जी कल मेरी आवाज आ रही है? थोड़ा नेटवर्क
या
मेरे यहाँ वीक है। आ रही आवाज?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
बस यही है कि जिस मुद्दे पे नूपुर शर्मा जी ने बोला, ज्ञान वापी के मुद्दे पे, ज्ञान पापी मंदिर पे, तो मैं एक क्वेश्चन रख करके सभी लोगों के बीच में सोचिए आप लोग, जिस दिन ये प्रूफ हो गया कि जो हौज खाने में हमारे भगवान शिव ही थे, शिव ही हैं, उनकी जगह पे वजू करते थे, तो इन लोगों के साथ हम लोगों को क्या करना चाहिए? इस बात को इस पैनल में जितने लोग बैठे हैं सोचेंगे रात में सोते वक्त कि हमारे साथ इन लोगों ने क्या क्या कर रहे हैं। और ये जो थ्रेड दे रहा है ना, इनकी तो ऐसी की तैसी होने वाली है सबकी। लेकिन ये आप सारे लोग ये जरूर सोचिएगा, चूंकि वो शिवलिंग ही है, ये तय है, और आप लोग सोचिएगा कि उसका अपमान ये लोग कर रहे हैं और इनके एक प्रॉफिट का अपमान हो गया है। कुछ जरा सा अपमान तो नहीं हुआ, सत्य बोल दिया है, तो इनको बुरा लग रहा है। और हमारे शिव के साथ जो लोग कर रहे थे, तो हम लोगों को कितना दर्द हो रहा होगा, जरा ये भी सोचिएगा आप लोग। चूंकि मैं तो खुद काशी से हूँ, मैं उस दर्द को झेल रहा हूँ। धन्यवाद।
अजय भाई,
अजय जी की बात में
आंदो सर, विथ योर परमिशन,
बीजे भाई,
एक बात और
हाँ,
जरूर सोचिएगा।
एक सेकंड, एक छोटा सा अनाउंसमेंट।
2 सेकंड सर।
अरे बीजे भाई, एक अनाउंसमेंट करना। अच्छा, मैं ये कह रहा था, वी आर नॉट टेकिंग एनी न्यू स्पीकर्स बिकॉज वी आर अबाउट टू कंक्लूड इन कपल ऑफ मिनट्स। सो रोजी मैम, शाजिद, प्लीज, माय अपॉलॉजीज, we are just about to conclude, so I have some work, so I have to close the room.
सो आंदो सर, विथ योर परमिशन, एक बात, और अजय भाई एक बात और जरूर सोचिएगा। आप काशी से हैं, मैं भी हूँ काशी से ही, तो एक बात और जरूर सोचिएगा कि वो तो धमकी दे देते हैं आपको खुलेआम, हम चुपचाप उनकी धमकी सुनते रहते हैं। मतलब चुपचाप, मतलब कोई वायलेंस नहीं, लेकिन हमारे मुंह से कोई बात नहीं निकलती। ये बात भी जरूर सोचिएगा।
हाँ, नीरज जी, you were saying something, after that we will conclude.
जी 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 तो मैं तो फिर से आपको थैंक यू कहूँगा आंदोलन जी ये रूम रखने के लिए, और इन ए सोसाइटी वेयर वुमेन आर ट्रीटेड इन अ वेरी डिफरेंट वे विच इज़ एलियन टू द वर्ल्ड, तो ये बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है इनको जब कोई एम्पावर्ड वुमेन इनके सामने आ जाती है। तो एक तो ये है कि वी हैव टू टेक द थ्रेट्स कमिंग फ्रॉम दीज मुल्लाज वेरी वेरी सीरियसली। किस प्रकार से, आई होप मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है, तो
आ
एक
रही आ
तो
रही
हाँ, वी हैव टू टेक दीज काइंड ऑफ थ्रेट्स वेरी सीरियसली। अगर नुपुर शर्मा जी को किसी ने, एक फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच है वो हर आदमी को है। जैसे आपने पीछे देखा कि जैसे ही ज्ञान वापी का केस चल रहा था तो हमारे शिवलिंग का कितना अपमान किया गया हर एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे, चाहे क्लब हाउस हो, ट्विटर हो, या कोई भी सोशल मीडिया का प्लेटफॉर्म था, उस पे भरपूर तरीके से बड़े बड़े इनके हैंडल उन्होंने इसका अपमान किया। लेकिन हमारे यहाँ पे ये सिस्टम नहीं है कि हम थ्रेट दें। हाँ, इफ़ वी वांट टू फॉलो इट, वी आर फॉलोइंग द लॉ ऑफ द लैंड, and if a community does not want to follow the law of the land and want to behave like this desert, जैसे इनका desert cult इनको सिखाता है be just going against the law of the land and कुछ भी करेंगे, किसी ने गाना बजा दिया तो उसको पथराव कर देंगे, तो this is not right. I believe we have to call it out. Being logical is the right way. Respect the law of the land. We are not criminals, मैं अभी सुन रहा हूँ कि हिंदू कुछ बोलते नहीं, हिंदू बोलते हैं वो कानून का दरवाजा खटखटाते हैं और कानून के
जब
तरीके से
बोलते
चलते
हैं, और जब बोलते हैं तो फिर वो मतलब 2002 से भी 20 साल एक जनरेशन ही हुआ है।
हाँ,
याद
वो
भी रखा जाता है। हाँ।
आपने हर बार देखा होगा कि शुरू वो करते हैं, खत्म हम ही करते हैं। वो इतिहास है हमारा 1000 साल का। ऐसा कमजोर मत समझना जो ये बोलते हैं कि 2050 में मुसलमान बहुसंख्यक हो जाएंगे तो हिंदू खत्म हो जाएंगे। ये अपने में मत सोचना। सनातन धर्म में कनादि
आपकी वॉइस क्रैक हो रही है
वो
नीरज भाई।
सनातन कभी हुआ है ना कभी होगा।
Right. So thank you, Neeraj ji, and thank you to all these speakers, who contributed in topic today. जो पूरा नहीं सुन पाए हैं, replays are on. This problem which we are noticing from a very long time, that the empowered women, the vocal women of our Indian society are getting targeted repeatedly. Starting from very recent case of Nupur Sharma. Earlier to that in Maharashtra, whether it is Kangana Ranaut, whether it is Navneet Rana, whether it is the lady Chitle who has been put behind bars for criticizing Sharad Pawar. This seems to be a very ugly trend. There seems to be some kind of association between Islamists and few political parties who are promoting this idea of not allowing women to speak, and that is a very disturbing trend. Thank you everyone again, the speakers, listeners, everybody who was there in this room from the last couple of hours. Thanks again.
Thank you. Goodbye.
This video was made possible by Creative Contents.